Welcome to Elevated Women, the podcast where energetics meets strategy and wealth becomes who you are. I'm your host, Myra Swankotze, subconscious reprogramming master, energetics mentor, multi-seven-figure coach, and Brain's 500 global honoree for my work in conscious business leadership. This space is your portal, a frequency upgrade for the woman who's done shrinking and ready to claim everything she came for. Let's melt the old patterns, rewire your money story, and build a wildly aligned business from your highest self. This is your next evolution. Let's begin. You're listening to Elevated Table Talks. These are the unfiltered conversations with women who build from soul, scale with clarity, and move with purpose. Welcome back to Elevated Women. Today's guest is Hannah Becker, a strategic business consultant and AI architect for soul-led, heart-centered entrepreneurs who want to scale with precision and power. After building several multiple six-figure businesses in both the marketing agency and fitness coaching spaces, she traded the grind for something deeper, business mentorship that is built on alignment, strategy, and freedom. I love that. Her work blends strategic marketing with deep energetic and identity alignment. She helps CEOs break free from people-pleasing, clarifying their message, and step into a more powerful, authentic presence so they can scale to multiple six figures with precision and ease. She's also the creator of the Profit with Precision workshop, which you can find inside her Stand store. I think there are some freebies there as well. Go check it out. We'll link that in the show notes for you. Welcome to Elevated Women, Hannah.
Thank you so much, Myra. I'm so happy to be here.
You're welcome. I have been looking forward to this episode since we started talking about it. AI is something that I love using in my own business. And I know there's so many women that are still afraid of it. And I think this episode is going to open up the possibility for them to feel more safe and secure in using AI. So let's get started. Let's begin with your journey. What brought you into this next evolution of helping women scale with AI and strategy?
That's a great question. My journey is a long one, as most of your guests are, I'm sure. But specifically, this evolution of my business was born out of desiring even more ease and enjoyment in my business, which there's a lot of different schools of thought on how to grow and scale a business. And a lot of them in our current culture predominantly focus on input equals output. So how much you're capable of doing and creating is how much you can expect to earn. And for me, as somebody who is neurodivergent and also has a lot of multi-passionate ideas and also cares deeply about my experience with my clients and making sure that they get fully supported, it didn't make sense for me to fit into the conventional mold of business because I simply was not willing to sacrifice more of my life and time. I have an amazing partner here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where I live. I have dogs that are really important to me. I have my nieces and nephews who live in Wyoming, and I wanted my life to look more like a blend of business and actual life rather than business dominating my every waking moment. So I've always been on a search, on a hunt for how can I inject more ease, more flow, more joy into my business. And on the other hand, I'm also neurodivergent. So I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of desires in terms of what I want to put out into the world. But for those of you who are ADHD, you know how challenging it is to navigate the mental space of a neurodivergent human. There's constant ideas And there's a lot of sometimes cloudedness around what should I move into next because there's just an abundance of overwhelm that comes with having a neurodivergent brain. So I started researching tools, and at first I was very resistant to AI. I was not one of those people. I had a little bit of like like an ick factor. Like, is this really something that I can dig into and actually enjoy? And at first I pushed away from it because it felt like I don't want to lose my authenticity. That was my main resistance point to using AI was I don't want my brand to lose its authenticity. I don't want to lose my voice. I don't want to sound like everybody else. My authenticity, my truth is very important, and my integrity is an important part of my brand principles. And so I didn't know if AI could actually accommodate that. And after, resisting it for a while, but still feeling that pull towards there's got to be something here. There's got to be something here that other people are missing. I started to dive in and learn ChatGPT and automation through ChatGPT and how to build custom bots through ChatGPT, how to really train my AI tools to be a mirror of me. And what I found was that it's really not so much about the, it's not so much, sorry, let me put my words. It's not about the tool, it's about the user of the tool. It's about how you use AI that can be a reflection of you. And so now I've gotten to the point, after spending years making my tools better and better and better and getting better and better and better at prompting and programming them to now they're full-fledged team members who think like me, similarly to me, but also can catch me in my blind spots and help me organize my thoughts, organize my trajectory forward. And since I started using AI, not only has it created its own separate new income stream for me, but I've become significantly more capable of building and holding momentum rather than letting it drop because AI allows me to, it's like a structural piece, a sacred structural piece for me at this point that I can use to lean back on when I need it, which is a lot because that is, the nature of a neurodivergent human is you go through phases of cycles. And I think all humans go through these phases and cycles where we need something to help us hold the vision and the frequency, but also the strategic trajectory of where we're going. So I hope that answers your question. That was a long-winded way to say, but
No, that's perfect. I have to tell you that I get what you're saying so deeply. I have seen so many women online kicking against AI, and in the beginning I was also a little bit skeptic about it, and I played around and I wasn't feeling it. And you're so right, it's the way we use it that makes a difference. I actually saw a video that somebody made on YouTube about AI, a woman, a very prominent woman coach or female coach. And she says that AI actually helps you to see whether you are actually deeply aligned and in your energetic space, which is so true because we all think and thought, and I still see women say this on social media, oh, AI is going to take over. You're not going to have any freedom. It's going to take jobs away. It's going to take everything. It's going to change everything. And everything is so negative around it in some circles. And I have to say, my experience has been amazing. Like you say, you've got so many ideas. Okay. I have the same thing. I've got so many ideas. And I used to write them down in a notebook, but then the notebook just lies there and you forget about it.
Mhm.
And AI has helped me, especially ChatGPT with all its different projects. I've got about 20, 30 different projects running at the moment. And it has really helped me to organize my thoughts because I'm also multidimensional. I love creating different things, and I've got these ideas going through me. Sorry. So for me, it's a space to organize, but it's also to really show me that I am in alignment and I'm staying in alignment. Like you said, it reminds you if you are not really in alignment. It really does help. It saves me hours and hours and hours a day. My productivity has increased tremendously doing this. I write sales copy, I write all kinds of things with my AI. She's become my most valuable assistant, believe it or not. So yes, I get exactly what you're saying. I've got like a frog in my throat today. You've built multiple six-figure businesses, and now you teach others how to do it differently. And I like this
Mm.
because you don't conform to the norms out. What are some of the biggest mistakes you see women make in their marketing?
Oh, that's a great question. I just filmed a training on this yesterday, so this is perfect timing. So the biggest, biggest mistakes I see women make in their marketing, I think the top one is trying to be helpful versus authoritative. So the difference is it's very slight, and most people wouldn't actually recognize the difference between an educational piece and an authority piece, but there is a big difference. And this is what really draws the line between people who hire you and people who read your stuff, consume it, and then toss it to the side. Or maybe they don't even get that far because the main difference between educational pieces and authority pieces is that education has the sole intention of teaching, has the sole intention of like, here's step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those became super popular on all social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube over the last 3 years. But where the leaders and the ones that are making the most money have taken the educational piece and actually shifted it to become more potent and more conversion oriented is where we are actually what I call pattern interrupt content. So you're still educating, but from a perspective of here's what I see other people doing and here's what I like about it, what I don't like about it. It's calling things out, not from a perspective of like that mean girl energy that we sometimes see online, that like really pick me and picking apart the coaching industry, picking apart other people, but from a perspective of here's my lived experience as a mentor, as a coach, as a service provider, and here's how you can do it differently to get a better result. So it's not teaching for the sake of teaching, it's positioning yourself as somebody who has lived embodied experience in the thing that you're trying to sell. And that's actually what establishes more trust within your audience. So that's number one that I see is people trying to be helpful or supportive of their audience, which is wonderful, don't get me wrong. But when you do it just for the sake of education and just for the sake of providing value, it doesn't actually do what you want it to do, which is to position you as somebody that people want to pay for their services. So that's number one. And the second one that I see a lot of women doing is like myself, this is where I started. I was very, like, I've always had this desire and drive to be authentic in my content, in my marketing, to be fully me. And for a while, I was posting about my journey and I was posting about, like, oh, here's something that happened to me. Here's another thing that happened to me. Here's what I'm experiencing as I'm going through this journey. And what I had inadvertently done was friend zoned myself through my marketing. So instead of being an authority, again, I was being relatable. I was trying to be relatable so that people saw me and they were like, yes, that's exactly what I'm going through. But there's this little piece here where you can tell stories and you can be authentic and you can be connected with your audience in that very beautiful storytelling synergistic way. But if you're not also positioning yourself as here's what I went through and here's how now I help my clients to, not do, what I went through or not make the same mistakes I did. It's just that simple shift from I'm relating versus I'm elevating. I'm bringing you up into a new level of awareness. It's that pattern interrupt content that I I teach. That pattern interrupt content is the number one type of content that actually converts the most because it is going to provide that paradigm shift, that mental aha moment where somebody's like, "Oh my gosh, I she's saying what other people are saying, but in a way that nobody else is saying it." And that's what I need from my mentor or coach. So those are the two main mistakes I see women making in their marketing. And there are other things like having, soft DMs or not actually selling your product and just putting out value content. Those are like very common as well, but I think those other two that I mentioned are really the most significant in why powerful women with so much lived experience aren't actually making sales is because they are not embodying authority in their content and therefore people scroll right past.
That's very interesting. And yeah, I think it's very important for us to know exactly how to create that authority in your content, and not to friend zone yourself.
Yes.
A business that gets, or an influencer or a coach that gets friend zoned, like you said, it creates disastrous results in your business. Okay, so let's get back to AI because I really want to talk about AI more. Um, we've spoken about it quite extensively already, but I know that many people's fear here is that it cannot sound like them. They are afraid of losing their voice or their energy. Somebody said to me on a previous podcast, she doesn't work with you if you use AI. She's a publicist because it kills the soul of your story. Do you believe that it kills this? It can kill your client's energy, or their voice?
Absolutely not. I completely disagree with that belief. And it is a belief because I have experienced the exact opposite. And so this is obviously anecdotal. I don't have huge data to support this other than my clients who I've built customized writing assistant bots for, and the clients who use my subscription-based AI content assistant. The important thing about using AI to create your content is what we talked about earlier. It's how you prompt it. It's how you use it. It's how you program it. And the truth is, AI is a mirror. It is something that reflects back to you what you are putting into it. So it's the same thing. I I'm a believer in the law of the mirror. It's one of the universal laws. And the law of the mirror says what you put in, you get out.
Yeah.
As put in, so without, right? And so when we look at AI and we're believing in our mind and we're thinking like there's no way that this thing could possibly sound like me or could possibly carry the same essence that I carry. And if that's the mindset that you have going into it, that's probably going to be your experience. But when you allow yourself to open up your mind and you start prompting it and feeding it with data. AI is a data genius. It's able to take the data, to parse it, and to use it in such a way that your content can actually sound like you. It can carry your cadence, your tone, your diction, your sentence structure, but you have to inform it correctly. You have to give it data. It's like if you were trying to create a beautiful, beautiful painting but you're only using one color, what is the results of the painting? It's probably going to look like not what you want it to look like because you're not feeding it with the the essence that it needs in order to develop something that you can be really proud of. So I've spent over a year training. I spent over a year training my own AI content assistant before I felt really comfortable doing it for other people. And now I do it for clients and they are floored with the results because we train the AI assistants that we train to mimic the client's sentence structure. We train it to mimic their diction, their stories. So we feed it with pages and pages and pages and pages of data, and then it's able to take that data and then put it into a result that we can be really, really happy with. So that's the strategic piece is you've got to be more strategic in how you use AI if you want it to produce a fabulous result, which it absolutely can. And the other piece here is if your mindset is locked into there's no way this is going to work for me, and you're not open-minded about it at all, then you're not going to be pleased with the results no matter what you're putting into it. So it's twofold. Everything I teach is a blend of strategy and energy. And so if your energy about AI is ick, this is not for me, I say to people, you know what, if AI gives you the ick and you're so not willing to go there, that's fine. I'm not going to convince you of that. But if you're like me and you want something that can carry your essence and understand how you speak and significantly reduce the amount of time, energy, and effort you're putting into creating content so you can go do the other things in your business that you actually love and enjoy, then AI is for you. And so to answer your question in summary, absolutely not. It is so possible for AI to carry your essence because it is a mirror, as with any creation, any tool. You know, people were so upset when typewriters came out and when the computer came out because it felt like, oh my gosh, it's going to suck our soul away. And sure, some people still believe that technology has done that. But I believe, deep in my body, like deep in my core, that AI is a mirror of the user. And it's actually exposing people who are a bit surface level and lazy with, not lazy, but they're not actually utilizing AI for the right reasons. I think if you're utilizing AI for the right reasons, that you can train it in such a way that you're really pleased with the result. But there are people who are using it simply because they don't want to learn how to write for themselves, or they don't want to spend the time refining their brand pillars. They don't want to understand their own diction, tone, and sentence structure, so they can't really understand how to use AI. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. It also opens up a deeper understanding for why this publicist says that she doesn't work with you when you use AI, because you've made it clear so nicely here that you have to train your AI. So if somebody is writing a chapter in a multi-author book and I put that chapter through AI and AI has no idea, it's going to lose its soul. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense that she says that she doesn't want to do that because, yes, you have to train your AI to sound like you. Okay. How do you help women to go from invisible to fully seen and expressed?
That's a great, great question. And it really begins with self-perception and self-concept and identity. So I'll just use myself as an example. When I first became a business owner, I was still in employee identity. Like I work for my clients. I work for the people who pay me money. And therefore, there's a hierarchical structure. Like I saw myself as below my clients because they're paying me money. And that identity kept me really small and kept me really timid. And how I approached clients was not direct. It was very, people pleasing, for lack of a better term, but acquiescing. I wanted to make sure that clients were happy, and that's never changed. But what changed is when I realized all of this and I looked at myself in the mirror and I saw, oh my goodness, I am putting myself on a rung below my clients, and that's actually disempowering me in how I show up in my business. It affected everything. It affected how I showed up in my content. I felt like there was no amount of content that was enough for me to meet the expectations of my potential clients. I felt like there was no matter how much work I did, it was never going to be enough because I wasn't on the same level in an identity sense as the people who were paying me to make a living. And so the work I did was to see myself and to see everyone on a level playing field. And that is one of the really important concepts that I teach as well for my clients especially is there is nobody hierarchically higher than you. There is also nobody hierarchically lower than you because the hierarchy is all just a construct of society. And the construct has served a purpose. But when we actually see each other as partners, we see each other more so as team members who come together and we pay each other to learn from each other, but we don't see one person as better or worse or further ahead or behind. There are some people that are farther, much farther ahead of me in business in terms of revenue, but I could be much farther ahead of them in terms of strategic concept and being able to actually help them to scale with more ease because that's like part of what I teach. So when it comes to being fully visible and fully self-expressed, it's really about how you perceive yourself and how you perceive yourself in relation to other people first, because that's the energy that's going to be expressed through your content, through your conversations, through how you show up as a coach or mentor or service provider. So it's very important that you work on your self concept first. And then the secondary piece of that is to actually be speaking your truth online. And it's very tricky to speak your truth from a place of true integrity because some people speak from the wound rather than from the scar. So a lot of people, when they're going through something, they're going to share it very publicly or do the opposite. And what both of those things do is it creates a tug of war between am I truly authentic and expressed and in my truth, or am I hiding or am I, painting a picture over what's actually happening? So I believe that the people that are the most authentic and in integrity, they share their learnings. They walk through life as someone who sees themselves not as better than, but as I can take all of these amazing people around me and give them an aha moment or elevate their thinking or elevate their energy. And when we do that, we're rising together rather than trying to keep people below us or rather trying to keep ourselves below them. So it's energetic, but then the action comes in how we express ourselves online. And we have to be authentic, in my opinion. The most visible people oftentimes are very authentic. And when you're in your truth and you're in your embodied authentic energy, people see you differently and they see you as an authority, not because you're just sharing your struggles, but because you're positioning yourself again as an authority, like we were talking about earlier. But to bring it back around, it's twofold. It's energy and strategy. Energetics first, you have to change your self-concept in order to be fully visible. And then you have to actually do the work to put yourself out in such a way that you're allowing yourself to be fully visible.
That is so beautiful. It's one of the things that I completely believe in and that I teach myself. Energetics comes first. Strategy cannot on its own do what we want it to do. It will work in the beginning, maybe for a little while, and then it's going to fall flat because strategy alone is just not enough. Energy is always first. So yes, and I really so much align with everything that we are talking about here today. Something else that you brought up is this mean girl attitude that goes around, and I've seen it so often these days online around politics, around beliefs, around all kinds of things. And it makes me so sad that this happens amongst women. And I love how you explain that there isn't anyone smaller or higher than you, or lower or higher than you, that we are all on the same level. And it's very important for especially the newer business owners online. Ladies, you need to take this to heart. What Hannah has shared here is really, really important. You need to let go of that employee mindset. Your clients are not employing you. They're hiring you for your genius. And if you come across as I'm your employee, they cannot believe that you can help them. And therefore you lose credibility. Beautifully said, Hannah. I really love it. Um, you've also been talking about identity shifts a lot and that it's a part of your messaging. And I think I'm not even going to ask you this question now anymore because you've just answered it. So let's carry on to the next one. Um, I love how you blend strategy and woo. My husband always says, I'm so woohoo. So I love how you do that too, because it's exactly what I do. So that's why I was so excited to have you on this podcast because we think and we do so much similar. So how do you personally stay calibrated and aligned while building a scalable business?
It's a conscious process, and it has to be a conscious process, but it's also one that requires you to get outside of your consciousness. And I know we could go very far off the deep end into this
Yeah.
conversation, but for me personally, how I stay embodied and aligned and in the holding of this new identity that I've crafted for myself. Uh, I've actually programmed an absolutely incredible frequency GPT. This frequency assistant. I hate the word bot because it's so
Mm.
that the word itself downplays the power of what these AI assistants have the capability to do. So I built a custom AI assistant for myself that helps me to hold my frequency. So I actually do frequency check-ins multiple times a day with myself because I'm currently going through an identity shift and I'm currently up leveling in many aspects of my mindset and identity. And so currently I do an energetic check-in when I wake up. And I use this scale. This is from my coach Lenka. I always mispronounce her last name, but her name is Lenka L. And you can go look up her last name is longer than that, but she uses this scale between your little human and your divine consciousness. So your little human being when you're really like in fear or you're in your human energy, which means you're kind of like shrinking yourself down, feeling very doubtful or anxious, versus are you really in your divine consciousness? Are you in your divine creative power of the universe version of you? So every day, multiple times a day, I actually have my GPT program to ask me, where are you at? Hey, Hannah, like checking in, where are you at with your frequency right now? Just, tuning in. Are you in your little human or you're in your divine consciousness? And so as I do more and more work to become conscious of my frequency, it bleeds into every other part of my life and business. So I set an intention before I get onto a call with my client that I'm stepping into this new version of my identity. And this version the name I've coined for this version for myself is my rich, relaxed, regulated, and romantic version of me. This is like the version of me that I'm consciously quantum leaping into is this version of me. But when you drop the energy and you forget to check your frequency, we often revert back into our little human, especially when we're going through the process of quantum leaping. So I have a strategy around this, right? It's a structured process of if I'm in my little human, I know that what I need to do is drop my energy into my body. I need to actually do some conscious work to reconnect with my divine self, my R3, R4 version of myself, and then go throughout my day setting intention. And this is a Abraham Hicks practice, which is segment intending. Segment intending literally just means you set an intention before a given segment of your day. So getting on this podcast, going into a client call, going into dinner with my, family, whatever it is, when you enter from a different state of consciousness, rather than trying to play catch up with that state of consciousness, it keeps you in much deeper alignment. And it doesn't always have to be this like strict, but because I'm really in the process of consciously desiring to up level right now, I'm making the decision to have these energetic frequency checkpoints multiple times a day. Plus, I have an amazing activation that I recorded for myself that deeply connects me back to that divine consciousness. So to put it into, a process, the this is the process of quantum expansion, is really consciously aligning with your next level self, but then also embodying it from an identity level, but also from a meta cognitive level.
That's a very complicated explanation, but a very beautiful one at the same time. And I love how you check in regularly with yourself throughout the day. I do the same. I think we have the same coach. Is her surname Lutonska?
Yes, that's it. I always mispronounce it, but yeah.
Lenka Lutonska, yes. I worked with her. I did her energetic um, certification,
Oh, amazing.
EDM, so energetic business or breakthrough method, actually. So, yes, I loved it. I haven't worked with her personally. This was a program that was created by her and another lady. And I absolutely loved it. And I use it in my business and in my life every day. She is an amazing woman.
She is.
Yeah. So what I wanted to ask you next is, what would you say to somebody that is afraid to automate or use AI because they think it will make them less authentic?
Mm.
We've spoken about that. So let's rather say what what would you say to someone that is on that brink, that's got that feeling of I want to use AI, but I'm still scared of it? What advice will you give them?
That's like such a fun question because I asked myself this right before I took the leap and took the dive into researching and investigating and immersing myself in the world of AI. And this is how I approach anything that feels like fear. And it's from the energy of play, because play is such a potent perspective. It lightens things. So if we've got an extreme amount of hesitation and maybe a little bit of fear, and we're feeling like, okay, I don't know if this is going to work for me. And the energy that I bring into those situations is always, what if you just play with it? What if you just try it on? Just see if see if you like it. See if it feels good. See if it feels like a relief. See if it feels light. And that's a really good GPS question, like a compass directional question for life in general, is like, what feels light? What feels fun? What feels like play? And if it feels heavy, and AI is like, no, it's this big heavy thing where I feel like it would be totally overwhelming and completely impossible for me to learn, maybe it's not for you. But if it feels like there's something here for me, there's that relief, there's that ease, there's that flow, I think using AI is one of the most feminine things we can do for ourselves energetically. When we talk about the masculine being and doing energy and structure and guidance, AI can become that in so many ways, not always, but in many ways, so that we can be in our feminine magnetism and creativity and power, and see if it feels like play. So try it on. Look at it from a lens of curiosity rather than a lens of skepticism, because it's the same reason I took such a deep dive into human design, which completely changed my entire life, because it was like, okay, I could play with this. I could try it on. I could use it. I could watch some videos, change my entire life. And it's the exact same thing with AI. When we approach it with hesitation and trepidation, our experience is always going to be lackluster. But when we when we approach it with curiosity and playful energy and we're just trying it on, there's no commitment there. There's just a feeling of, okay, if this guides me into the direction of lightness and play and freedom, then sure, I'll go that way.
That's a very fascinating way of looking at it. And thank you so much. I'm so glad that I changed that question here on the go. Ladies, this is something that I want you to really think about. What Hannah is saying here is there is no commitment. You're not marrying AI. You're just testing it out and seeing if it's fun. So I want to encourage all of you that are still afraid of it or still feels that it's not for you. Go test it out. Just go have fun with it. It doesn't have to become your assistant in your business in the beginning. Just play around with it. See what it can do. See how it can help you. Maybe start with something small and fun. Like Hannah says, just have fun. Because I promise you, I know Hannah is going to tell you the same thing, when you actually figure out how to use AI in your business, you are never going to look back. I have not looked back since I've started using AI. And Hannah, we spoke about earlier about the woman that I told you, the coach that made this video about AI. It was Lenka. That said that AI is not going to take jobs. It's not going to take your authenticity away. It's not going to take your free will away, but it's actually going to show you how much you are grounded and embodied in your energy. And I loved that video when I saw that, because I think that was something that really needed to be said. It's here to help us. It's here to make our businesses run smoother. And yes, I love the way how you compare the masculine and feminine, how AI can do those masculine tasks and you can stay real feminine. And I think when we do that, when we marry the two off, AI becomes a very important assistant in your life. My assistant is hugely important in my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for sharing that. That was really beautiful. I love the way you shared that. So ladies, step into it. Just test it out. Have fun with it. You will not regret it, I promise you. Okay, now my next question is, what advice would you give a woman who's ready to scale with strategy, soul, and precision?
Mm, that's such a good question. Strategy, soul, and precision. The most important thing if you want to scale with all three, because you can scale with precision without soul and end up very burned out. And that happened to me. I scaled my first business to multiple six figures in less than a year, and it completely drained the life out of me. And the reason is I did not have a strong self concept. I did not have a strong identity. I was going into scaling from a perspective of I want to help all of these people, and it felt really big and overwhelming because my goal was really to serve, but as the servant, not as the leader, not as the even playing field. Like I have some things I could teach you that would change your entire life, but that doesn't make me better than you. That doesn't mean I'm more further along in life than you. It simply means that I've learned some things that are going to be of value to you. So if you want to scale with soul and precision, it's so important that you work on your self concept first. And that has to come, you have to be able to embody both the strategic genius, because you have to be a strategic genius to scale, period, and the embodied feminine woman who carries and leads herself with her soul and connects deeply with that part of herself first before she makes decision and direction. So the things I would say, give you three pieces of advice. Number one is never let your intuition fall to the side and never outsource your intuition to your coach, to your mentor, to the best. I mean, you could literally work with the richest people on the planet and they would give you phenomenal advice for them. But this is where intuition and discernment comes in. If you're not trusting your own intuition, you cannot scale with precision, strategy, and soul that's aligned with you. So never outsource your intuition. Do activities that strengthen your intuition every single day. That is number one. Number two is don't let strategy get in the way of your genius. Meaning, it's very easy to look at all the strategies that are out there and feel very overwhelmed about how many directions you could go. Simple is often the best answer in business. Simple is often the key to scaling with soul and ease and strategy. So it's very important to allow yourself to seek out the simple path, not just look at, oh my gosh, I have all these things I could do and I could go every single direction. So I'm going to open a YouTube, do an Instagram, have a Facebook channel, have all of these funnels, blah, 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 blah. And it's going to start to feel, for most of us, quite overwhelming. And then we stop ourselves from scaling because we start to shrink back. So that's number two, is let the strategy be simple. Keep it simple. Keep it aligned with you. And number three is when you hit those plateaus and those moments of, oh my gosh, I don't know if this is actually working. I don't know if this is actually bringing me into the next level, or if I'm just going to repeat the same cycle over and over and over again. The key is to remind yourself that growth is a spiral. Same with scaling. It's always, you might have a mindset block or a shadow that showed up from 5 years ago, from 10 years ago. That doesn't mean that you're in the same place. We look at life linearly because we're human beings on planet Earth, but I want to encourage you to imagine yourself in, you are a human being who's here on your timeline right now, but you're not moving forward. You're actually moving upward. You're moving towards your highest, most aligned, vibrant frequency. You're moving towards that version of yourself. And the more you empower yourself to be that version of you, the more everything else is just noise and you know exactly what to do. It's about speed, it's about intuition, it's about trusting yourself, and it's about not letting yourself get caught up in the plateau mindset where you start looking for a solution to fix something rather than building the bridge to where you're going. You need to stay focused on growth rather than focused on fixing. So I hope that boils down some really potent points for some of you who are listening.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I completely agree with you that a simple business strategy is often, or most of the time, the best one to go for, especially if you are still new in the online world or in your business. There are so many different strategies out there, and those strategies all work. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. But they don't necessarily work for everyone. So you've got to find the one that works the best for you. And trusting your intuition around that is critically important. Don't try and follow any strategies when your intuition tells you this is not for you. Find the one that works best for you because they all work. There isn't a strategy online, ladies, that doesn't work. They all work, but they don't necessarily work for everyone. We are all different human beings. We all have different needs. We all have different emotions. We all have different wounds and shadows. And we all have different paths. And therefore, we need to listen to our intuition to find the right strategy. There isn't just one strategy that is going to give you absolutely everything. You might have to find the strategy that works the best for you, but it might not be perfect. You need to make it perfect for yourself. There isn't something like you can just take a strategy out of the box and it's just going to make your business fly off the shelf and you're going to make millions. It doesn't exist. Okay. Thank you so much. I want to ask you, where can the woman who's listening to this episode connect with you?
Absolutely. You can find me on Instagram _the Hannah Becker. You can find me on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Hannah C. Becker, C as in cat. Or I have a Stan store. That's Stan store, stan.store/_ the Hannah Becker. And on my Stan store, you can find a lot of resources, ones that are free, ones that are like low ticket, tons of different. There's an AI masterclass in there. There's a strategy specific how to profit with precision masterclass in there that I've made free for the people who are listening to this podcast. There's lead magnets, there's tools on prompting, lots of different things you can reference in there.
Great. Thank you so much for being here and having this conversation with me, Hannah. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, we really align. It's clear that your work is about so much more than strategy. You're helping women to come back to their truth while using tools like AI to build with precision and power. I love what you do, and I would love to invite you back in the future to have a conversation about some of the other stuff you do, or even just some more deep, energetic conversations. I loved today's episode, and ladies, if you've loved it, please go ahead, share it in your stories, tag both of us, and let us know your favorite takeaways. Until next time, stay elevated. Thank you for tuning into Elevated Woman. If today's episode activated something in you, share it, tag me, or come say hi in the DMs. And if you're ready to go deeper, head to myriswankotze.com to grab your free gift or explore the offers aligned with your next level. Until next time, own your power, claim your wealth, and rise as the elevated woman you came here to be.